Hark! Lend me your ears, and see what I possess. 2 aces and a queen, a simple game, no less. 3-card Monty's the name of the game, a test of skill and chance with much acclaim. The cards shall shuffle up and down, and you, my friends, must guess where the queen is to be found. Beware, for it is a game of deception and trickery, a challenge that requires much agility, for the queen shall move so swift, so fast, and you must keep your eyes open, or the game won't last. But fear not, for I shall guide you with my voice, and you'll emerge victorious with much rejoice. The game may seem simple, but do not be deceived, for it's not for the faint-hearted or the easily relieved. Only the wise and sharp of mind shall prevail and earn the coveted prize without fail. So gather round and try your luck. Let the games begin, for you're all in for a buck. May fortune smile upon you and guide your hand and lead you to victory in this game so grand. Thus ends my tale in this game of chance, and may your skills and instincts give you great advance. Hello and welcome to another strange edition of Tips and Tricks for Magicians. I don't know if you realize this, but it was me the whole time. Alright, so let me explain what the heck you just saw. First of all, spared no expense on the costuming department. What you just, hang on one second, let me just grab my script here. What you just saw was this text, this script of Shakespearean verse, which I did not write. In fact, nobody in particular wrote this, for better or for worse. This was generated by AI, an AI writing service, the ChatGPT engine, if you're up on the technical stuff. And I just asked it to write me a Shakespearean scene wherein an actor was talking to an audience demonstrating the game of 3-card Monty. And that's what came. Now, it didn't come out the first time. It took me about a dozen or so times of hitting, you know, try again, refresh, try again, until I got one that was workable. But still, not bad for literally pushing a button. It took me, you know, a few minutes to generate that entire script. Now, I put together a quick routine and handling to kind of match the script. I wasn't able to put in a specific routine. Anyway, the point is, that came out of the virtual ether, which is interesting. You have to admit, that's kind of interesting. Now, I've been working with, you know, generating random ideas from the creative ether for a long time. In fact, back in the year 2000, I was publishing Half-Baked magazine, all about magical creativity and sharing kind of half-baked ideas, unfinished ideas. And in that process, I came up with something. Let's take a look. Now, this is not the original. This is the modern take on it. But it is the random magic trick generator. And it creates a random sentence that vaguely describes a magic trick. So in this one, it is the amazing ninja does torn and restored with a relic and a bun. It's kind of nonsense, but again, vaguely magic trick-like. And the goal of this tool was that it just spurs new thought. It makes you think, well, what would it look like to do a torn restored with a bun? You know, you can pick and choose elements if you want. How does a relic and a bun connect together? And you know, if creativity is about connecting the dots, and those sudden sparks of inspiration is the lightning bolt between point A and point B and goes, ah, there's a connection here. The goal of the random trick generator is just to create more dots and more potential for sparks. It doesn't give you the spark, but it gives you more points from which to arc across. So that is the goal here. Kind of nonsense, kind of random, well, very random. In fact, there's, what does it say, 500 million different possibilities at the moment. 500 million magic tricks waiting to be invented. And the point is, you just click the button here, and it comes up with something new. The Amazing Farmer does a fake expose with space and a chair. Again, very weird, very random ideas. And this is something I created, the core idea of this, in 2000, but it's actually based on something from Daryl Fitzke's The Trick Brain, where he would have lists, written lists, and picking random numbers, you'd take, you know, number 17 from this list and number 8 from this list, and it would combine an effect with a prop. And then you have to, that's the Trick Brain methodology. So this was an advancement on that in the computer age. But the point is, every time you click a button, you get a new idea. Now, here is the next generation. This is what I was working on over the past weekend. Not only does it generate this random sentence, it now has a new button where you can generate a text description of that trick. So let's spin the wheel again here until I get something that sounds interesting. Okay, here we go. The Amazing Con Artist does the color changing silk with a washing machine and a gateway, which is kind of an abstract concept. So when we push this button to generate text, what it's doing in the background is taking my original random phrase and it is spitting it into this AI text generator in order to form that one line into a more expanded request, and then it takes that request and turns it into what might be a description and or presentation for this trick. So let's see what it generates. It takes a few seconds, as you saw. Let's see what it actually generated. So it took that sentence and it turned it into this. It asked the AI to imagine a color-changing magic trick with a silk or other simple prop performed with a washing machine. The trick should be explained in the style of the con artist. As many writers could try as desired, a flash fiction, 300 words or less. Make it a variety show / vaudeville act style. Explain the trick. Include an audience of 30 and perform the trick to an enthusiastic audience. So this is I developed this over a few tries, and I found out that doing this double phase where originally I was just taking that original sentence and asking for a description of that, but it became very repetitive, very similar. And so I added this extra layer of randomness, so it goes boop, boop, you know. So this description, as you saw, fabricated a few things. It added a few things. I have a little bit of code in there that suggests one of, I think I have about 12 different styles, and vaudeville is one of them. I thought might be interesting. So it kind of mixes and matches, expands it further. Anyway, let's take a look at what it finally generated. It says, "Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to my vaudeville act, where I'll wow you with my magic trick featuring this humble silk handkerchief and a mundane washing machine. Before we begin, let me introduce myself. I'm the con artist, master of deception and illusion, and tonight I'm going to show you how I can change the color of this silk right before your very eyes. But let me warn you, this is your average color changing trick. This one involves a washing machine." How, you might ask? Observe carefully as I demonstrate. First, I'll dip the silk into this bucket of water. Now, what color is it? Red, you say? You're right, but watch closely. Next, I'll toss the silk into this washing machine filled with bleach. Ready for it? Here goes nothing. Boom! Sorry about that, folks. I tend to get a little carried away. Now back to the trick. As you can see, the silk is white as snow. Or is it? Presto! Behold, the silk is now blue! How did I do it, you ask? It's all a matter of timing and using the bleach to reactivate the dye in the silk. It's a bit of science mixed with magic, if you will. Now, watch again as I dip the blue silk into another bucket of water. What happens? Did you see that? The silk is now green. You're scratching your heads trying to figure out how I did it, I know, but that's why I'm here, to make you wonder and be entertained. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience, folks. I hope you enjoyed my color-changing silk trick with a washing machine. Remember, folks, never trust a con artist like me. We'll just leave you dazzled, confused, and wanting more. That came out of, well, I was going to say came out of nowhere, but of course the way AI, generative AI works is that it's kind of coming from everywhere. It comes from millions of source material and it kind of gloms it all together into this weird mass and tries and smooths it back out into new text. So it doesn't come from anywhere or any particular, but I didn't write this. It just happened in those 10 seconds that it took. And now you have potentially an idea for a new magic trick. I wouldn't have come up with that. That's the point. I would not have come up with that. The whole point of this random trick generator is to push your brain in new directions. And I feel like this AI addition has the potential to push it even further. Now, a lot of it is complete nonsense. You're not going to get a finished product out of this. You're going to get ideas. You're going to get suggestions. Let's try again. So we click the button and get a new random idea. The amazing Donald Duck does a fake expose with a curtain and a paper bag. Should we give it a spin? Why not? We'll give it a spin. Generate text. And as I said, so it's generating, from that sentence, it's generating a prompt, which is then generating the final text. So it's that two-step process. So what you're going to get now is going to be completely different in style, in tone, in everything. So imagine a fake magic exposed magic trick performed with a curtain and paper bag presented in the style of Donald Duck or Bugs Bunny. 100 words or less, make it wacky and zany. Let's see how it did. The Great Duckini and his wacky curtain trick. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the one, the only, the Great Duckini. Now for my next trick, I will make myself disappear with nothing but this curtain and a paper bag. All right, let's get started. I now enter the curtain and slowly raise the paper bag in front of me. Now for the grand finale. Are you ready? Ta-da! Did you really think I would let a flimsy curtain and paper bag fool me? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, never trust a magician who wears a silly hat. You know what? That last bit is actually good advice. But you can see that one had a lot less substance. It was a lot more nonsense. It didn't really say much of anything. And that happens a lot with AI, where it just kind of goes in circles without really making any particular statement. Kind of does that. It makes a lot of noise, but not a lot of signal. So that's okay. Now you can actually regenerate. If you want to try again, you can hit the button and use this same original prompt to regenerate an entirely new and entirely different description. So if you really like this idea, then you can stick with it. You can re-roll the dice a few times and see what comes up. So now it's something, a quacky magic disaster. This is a magic trick gone wrong. Make it weird, bizarre, and funny. So you can see, I'm not going to read it again, but the point is it's now something completely different. Still using those elements of Donald Duck, a curtain, and a paper bag. In fact, that's one thing interesting about this. This is before the AI, it was this feature. If you really like let's say you want to find a paper bag trick that inspires you, you can hit this little lock button on paper bag and it'll stay. When you regenerate a new random idea, that paper bag will be locked in place. So now you're getting different ideas. The secretary does Russian roulette with a ribbon in a paper bag. A new random idea. Winnie the Pooh does magnetism with a cage and paper bag. So this random idea generator has been around for a long time, but it's an interesting tool to kind of just inspire new ideas. And I think this new level to it is just, it's not better ideas, it's just more more randomness. Sometimes you get good stuff, sometimes you don't. So the Amazing Nurse, let's give it a spin. That's the whole point. Now, this script, as I said, took a few times to generate. It actually wasn't generated in this program because I specifically wanted to find something Shakespearean to do a 3-card Monty. So I had my elements. I didn't want to use the random elements. Oh, it gave me an error. That might happen. This is brand new. This is, you know, I might run out of credits. I've only budgeted so much for this little experiment. So if you try it out and you start getting error messages, just be patient and try it again. It's going to happen. Anyway, so I used the same AI engine to make this, but I didn't use this tool in particular. But I think that the real thing to think about with this, oh, here we go. Shakespeare came up, so there's a chance it might generate another soliloquy. But the point is, it's not going to give you finished products, right? Like the routine that I performed at the beginning of this video, there's a lot of nonsense and a lot of not really on point meaning to the text. So if you're going to use this tool, think about it as something to help so you don't have to start with a blank page, right? That's one of the hardest things about creating something new, is when you set out and you have a blank canvas in front of you and you think, oh, what do I create? From nothing, from scratch, from zero. And it's hard to get started. So this random magic trick generator really is a big push to get you started. You don't have to deal with a blank page anymore. You can have a rough draft, as terrible as it might be, is more helpful than starting from nothing. So one last, I'll have a look at what we generated here, and then I'll bid you adieu. You can try it out and have some fun. A miraculous performance. Performed with naught but a clock and a sack. The art of magic lies in what we lack. Behold, fair audience, what wonders may unfold by simple means to dazzle young and old. The clock, it ticks, our anchor for the hour. Its beating heart holds vital magic power. With gentle touch, we halt its ceaseless flight. The young man's eyes widen at such sight. Goes on and on. But, you know, most people would have a hard time writing a poem as good as that. It's not the most amazing poem, but it's coherent. It's not bad. Might be better than the poem you might try to write. So use this. In fact, you know, if you want to regenerate, you might get a few options. Then you can kind of cut and paste and put it together into something with a bit more logic to it. But there you go. That's the idea. Random magic trick generator. It is, if you want to go and try it out, you're welcome to it. It is at random.magictipsandtricks.com. random.magictipsandtricks.com. I'll put that link in the description under this video. But again, have at it, and just be aware, as you saw, there might be errors that pop up. You get what you get. Enjoy. With my compliments. Adieu. Adieu. This has been Tips and Tricks for Magicians, and I'll see you next time with another 500 million new ideas.